Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our special webinar stream on the new CLIA Cruise Traineeship. And we've got a live audience just coming in now, which is great. We'll get to all your questions throughout the session, and we'll also welcome to those of you who are probably viewing the recorded version of this new industry initiative. So it's very exciting. Let me introduce myself first for those that don't recognise it. I'm Peter Collar, Head of International Training and Development for CLIA. And I'd like to start by just giving you a quick summary of the traineeship program in its basic form, and that it's a service which starts with the help from our new partners, Apprenticeship Support Australia, and they will help businesses such as travel agencies, wholesalers, and even cruise lines find employees who are then trained in line with the Certificate 3 in Travel with our partner, New South Wales TAFE, alongside work that is also done within the CLIA Learning Academy. And the end result is a competent, cruise knowledgeable employee to the business, which itself may also benefit from some rebates, and we'll talk about that throughout the session. And although it is simple in its premise, there are some intricacies to such an endeavour, which is why we've brought the webinar together today. And we've brought in the whole collaborating team into the Sydney CLIA office to help explain it to you. So let me introduce you. Of those people here in the office today, we've got James Moran from Apprenticeship Support Australia, the General Manager. We also have Stephanie Lynch, the National Business Development Manager for Apprenticeship Support Australia. And we've also got a great supporter of CLIA, Paula May, a Business Development Manager for TAFE New South Wales. And also we've got Troy Ashman, who is the Training and Development Manager for CLIA Australasia, and he'll be your CLIA representative for the traineeship program. So he'll also be moderating today on our behalf. So I'd like to say good morning, Troy.
Good morning, Peter. Thank you so much. Before we continue on, I'll just do some quick housekeeping items. As Peter mentioned, the webinar is being recorded. I will share that link with you at the end of the webinar for anyone who missed. If you do have any questions throughout today, feel free to pop them into the chat box and we'll come back to those at the end. We'll also be sharing a couple of documents throughout the webinar, so just look up for a notification which will pop up on your screen. Without further ado, I'll hand over to James.
Thanks, Troy, and thanks, Peter. And it's great to be here today to launch the traineeship program with CLIA. Been a lot of work done in the background from CLIA and TAFE's perspective. It's great to be here with Paula from TAFE, and also Stephanie Lynch, your main contact throughout this process in engaging with the traineeship program. So just by way of getting started, we've got a number of slides that we'll work our way through to provide you with information. Please send through your questions and we'll be handling them as we can as we progress through today. If you come out of the webinar and realise that you've got some further questions, then there's contact information there. We'll be back to you with more information. I guess our role in the process at Apprenticeship Support Australia is to make the whole system work well for you and make it kind of seamless, so you're not having to worry too much about engaging with people, or how do you get your incentives and those sorts of things. So by way of introduction, today Apprenticeship Support Australia is a company that was formed in 2015 to work in the apprenticeship space for all of the business chambers across the country. New South Wales Business Chamber, the Victorian Chamber, South Australian Chamber and the WA Chamber all got together to form Apprenticeship Support Australia, and our role is to get out there in the market and to attract candidates into training roles for the businesses that we support. We're ecstatic about having the relationship with CLIA, and launching that a couple of weeks ago was really exciting for us, and to have as many people as we have this morning listening in is fantastic as a way of starting. But let me say, by way of getting going, this is just the start. If we don't cover something, then please send through a question, or we'll be happy to pick it up from here via phone or via email as we form relationships with you. So think of us as your consultant, your guide through the process. Any advice that you get from us is free. Apprenticeship Support Australia gets paid once we get people into training contracts. So we get paid by the federal government to help them engage and also to help them complete the qualification. So we'll now sort of continue on and talk about some of the services. Who are we? We've got more than 60 years experience in this space in delivering skill development advice across the country to job seekers as well as to people in apprenticeships and traineeships. Definitely got national coverage, and I'll talk about that in a moment. very focused on service quality and making sure you get what you need to be able to make this work for you, and so that you can rely on us and not worry too much about it, because we're your partner in helping you through the whole process. Any surplus that we make as part of this get channeled back into business and our relationships with business associations like the one we've got with CLIA. And the other thing to note is we're very focused on making sure that we get the right people into traineeships, but also that they complete. So we've got a mentoring program that if we're noticing that some of our trainees are struggling, it might be things that are impacting on their life, it might be just coming to terms with work for the first time. Then we have a mentoring program where our mentors will get involved with the trainees and with our employers just to help that process along. Sometimes it's just a matter of facilitating conversations between trainees and employers, and we might be bringing younger people into the organisations that we're going to be working with, and that can be a little challenging at times, but I guess we're here to help you through that. Now, how are we going with volume and everything, Troy? That's all working fine? Yep. Okay. All right, moving on, we spoke of national coverage, 74 offices nationally, 400 staff on the ground. This program that we're kicking off today is very much focused on New South Wales and having the program with New South Wales TAFE, but we've already had commitment from Victorian TAFE and Queensland TAFE to be involved as well. So we're encouraging you, no matter what state you're from, to channel your inquiries through Stephanie, and then we will engage the TAFEs in the other states. But Paula is definitely going to be heading up the New South Wales program, and I know we've got a fair bit of interest in New South Wales from the outset. So our role in having 400 specialist staff on the ground is to contract prepare the contract between the trainee, the employer, and TAFE. This is a contract of training. The contract of training is what will determine the incentives that are payable to employers, and it'll help your trainees understand that this is serious. They're committing to a period of training. They should be looking to complete it, and everyone's here to help them to develop, and will also be a chance to introduce them to the support crew that's around to help them progress through their training. The other thing with having 400 people on the ground is we have relationships with schools across the country and other networks where if you're struggling to attract candidates into your organisation, then we can assist with that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on when we talk about skillsroad.com.au. But having those local people on the ground really can work with you locally to make this program the success it will be. It'll then be filtered back through Stephanie and the TAFEs as is required to make the program work.
I might just try and reload the presentation. I can see some comments that some people are not being able to see anything. I'll just be one moment.
The wonders of technology, hey, Troy.
Can I confirm? Yeah, thanks, Renee.
Great, everyone got it? Okay, it works. Looks good.
There we go.
So we'll move on now from our national coverage. Those of you who missed that slide, you'll just see all of the offices that we have across the country, but no point getting involved with each of those. Come through Stephanie in the first instance, because we'll engage our people on the ground as we need to. Benefits of hiring under an apprenticeship or a traineeship. Now, the qualification we're talking about today is a traineeship. The whole idea of a traineeship is to build a skilled and qualified workforce, and doing that by combining training, some formal training that will come from TAFE, and some training that will happen during their work time when they're at work. The combination of that practical work and the study will allow those people to develop the skills throughout their time of their traineeship to end up with a qualification at the end of it. What we are finding in the industries that we work in, that if we are engaging people in formal training, that has huge impacts on helping with employee retention, satisfaction at work, and also productivity in the workplace, because people are learning best practice in terms of how they should be delivering to their customers when they're dealing with them all the time. So that idea of bringing together a certificate with formal training at work is what a traineeship's all about. You can't just do the qualification and expect to have the experience when you're doing a traineeship. It's about combining both of those. The Certificate 3 in travel, Paula, I'm going to get you involved here in talking about it, because that is the qualification. I know it's been mapped to the CLIA materials, but do you want to tell us a little bit about the qualification?
That'd be great. Thanks, James. And hello, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. We're really proud at TAFE New South Wales to be partnering with CLIA and Apprenticeship support to deliver this program. I'm not sure how much you know about the qualification landscape, as I call it, but when you are looking at an entry-level position in travel, this is the qualification that is nationally recognised in Australia, that is for people who want to work as a travel consultant, work in reservations, and start their journey in a career in travel. So what we've been doing behind the scenes is working with CLIA, and obviously we do that with all of our industry chefs, to look at what skills are required for somebody entering the cruise sector, whether it is with a cruise line or whether it is with a travel agency. So this qualification you'll see on the screen, I hope you can see on the screen, covers quite a few general topics. And what we'll be doing once you recruit a trainee is working with Apprenticeship Support Australia to put your trainee through a flexible and highly relevant training program, which will be delivered in consultation with you. So this will enable your trainee to be not only be an effective member of your team, but at the end of their traineeship period, they'll be issued with a nationally recognised Certificate 3 in travel. So just to let you know briefly, this qualification is actually developed by industry. It's not written by the government, it's developed by industry. So you can be comforted by the fact that everything involved is relevant to the current skills and knowledge that is required for somebody in entering the industry today. Obviously, I'm happy to answer any questions if you need any specifics, but we'll be working with you once you have consulted with Stephanie through the network. Once you bring your trainee on board, we'll be working with you to make sure everything's going along as well as possible. Happy to take any questions later. Thank you. Thanks, James.
So, Paula, just while I've got you, the delivery will be a bit of a mix of online and some attendance in workshops, those sorts of things.
Yes, so we've actually mapped out a delivery model, if you like, and what we call blended. So if you're not, if you're in New South Wales, but your business isn't not in New South Wales, we can actually organise a blended delivery, which is a self-paced online, and then webinars, which will be supported through negotiation with you when that will be. Those webinars, just like this one, are recorded, and we will also have the opportunity of talking to you more specifically about some of the content that CLIA's Oceans of Opportunity doesn't cover. For example, the airfares subjects, to see what works for you, and that will be something we'll discuss once you go through the next stage.
And I'm right in saying that each trainee would have a coach and mentor that they could contact if they're having any trouble with the material, so that that won't be left to the employers to do that. The employers will give some input, but they'll have a coach and mentor from TAFE, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's part of our service. When a trainee is enrolled with TAFE New South Wales, they will be supported by a person who they can call on if they are needing any support with their learning, with their assessment, and yes, definitely. And that person, just so everybody knows, is going to be a cruise expert. All of our trainers are required to be industry current, and we've already identified some people internally who will be perfect for this traineeship.
Fantastic. We've just got to get the numbers in there now. Right. So, great. Okay, well, thanks for that. We'll continue on now, and if you do have any questions specifically for TAFE, please fire them through while we've got Paula, the expert, here with us today. So I've moved on now just to touch on the funding opportunities. So employers should be aware that, yes, there'll be a cost in bringing on a trainee, but there are some federal government incentives that are available that will help you to fund that. The federal government will give a $4,000 incentive for eligible trainees that come on board, and eligibility will be based on the fact of whether they've done any formal training in a certificate level in the past. Our role will be to test eligibility and to let you know in advance whether you're likely to be eligible for funding for your trainee even before you start. So that's where Stephanie would get involved. We would check our government website to see if there has been training done before, and we'll advise you what the costs will be, and also Paula will be covering the costs. But we'll be telling you what incentives will be coming and what you might be eligible for. The slide we've got that we're showing there just shows you a range of incentives that are available across the country. Because the Department of Education and Training is different in every state, the conditions are different in every state, and so that's our role, is to make sure we're the experts in that space to make sure that you're maximising the benefits that you can get. One of the fantastic things that's available in the Sydney region or in New South Wales for trainees is that your trainee could get a travel concession card for being involved in a training contract. Now that's awesome for someone who's travelling into the city every day, can mean a huge reduction on their travel, and that can be seen as a benefit that you're providing by providing them access to this training. So just be aware there are incentives for you, but there are also some incentives available for your trainees as we go along as well. We just had a question, if we were in Northern Territory, would we come under rural and regional? We'll have to check on that one for you. We don't look after Northern Territory, but we will refer you to the government up there. The government looks after the apprenticeship training program on their own up there, and we refer you through. So I'd like to take that one offline, and specifically if you could send us an email through to Stephanie, we'll look at your location and we'll give you some advice based on that. As you'll see, but we've just given you a snapshot of the incentives here today. There are others available. If you're in Queensland, for instance, and looking at bringing on a new person, it's quite attractive for you to bring on someone in a lower age bracket at the moment, because they're really engaged with trying to get younger people into work. Just for today, though, be aware that our job is to advise you on all of those incentives and funding. You don't have to be experts. We'll let you know what you should be tapping into to see where you might be able to pay for the program and help you to develop your teams. One thing to note, though, is that it's always going to be better for you to engage people in traineeships in the early phase of their employment. So you should be focused on, if people are working out and they're looking like they're passing probation, within that first 3 months, if you can engage with Stephanie, we need to get them signed up into a training contract within that first 3 months to maximise the benefits we're going to get from government. So just be watching the 3-month mark, be in touch with us. If someone's working out in that probation phase, that's when you push forward to reward them and help get them involved in the traineeship. If you click over the 3-month, incentives aren't as good. So just be aware of that one, but we'll advise you as we talk to you individually about that and what's available in your state. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about is our website, skillsroad.com.au. As part of what we're engaged to do is to get kids and people into traineeships. We have built this website over the last 7 years. Now, Skills Road will provide information on types of work that are available. We've taken Skills Road into the schools, and we'll be using Skills Road to promote the job opportunities that you have to access candidates that are available. At the moment, we've got 210,000 people that are using Skills Road across the country. They'll come in usually through a school class where they've sat through a careers advisor session, and they will look at Skills Road, and they'll be encouraged to do a career quiz that will test out where their key strengths are and give them some recommendations on a primary skill set they should be looking for work in and a secondary skill set. Now, in regard to the travel industry, obviously they're going to have to be big on customer service and highly in that area. Once they've done that career quiz, then they'll be given information about different types of work, and then they can follow through onto the jobs board, see what jobs are available in their region. Now, as we engage with you, employers, if you are struggling to find candidates, we would get you to advertise on Skills Road, and we'll push that into our networks. It is also advertised through onto Indeed.com every night, so you get very good coverage for your job ads. There's a free service available, so that's not something you have to pay for. But if you are really struggling, you want us to push your job ad into Facebook channels and social media channels, we'll be able to do that for you as well for a slight cost. We just have to cover the cost of getting your ads into those networks, and that's what we'd be doing. So know that if you're struggling, you can't access candidates, we can use Skills Road to get into schools, to be educating the school kids that are coming out about the opportunity in this space. It's no secret that mums and dads these days are really pushing kids into university, when we know if they came out of school and went into a vocational education and training program like this Certificate 3 in travel, then they're more likely to earn more money, be learning on the way, and it doesn't stop them from going to university later on because they can progress through a Cert 3, Cert 4 diploma and then end up at university, but they're learning and earning money on the way through. That's a battle we've got in educating the society about the fact that vocational education and working in an industry as fantastic as yours can provide an awesome career opportunity for people. So skillsroad.com.au, the best way to engage with that is to have a look at it. Go onto the website yourself, register, have a look at the career quiz. For those of you who don't have great recruitment processes in place, you might get people to do the career quiz, maybe even the job fit tests, and bring the results to the interview so you've got something to talk about as part of your interview process. Our guide there is just to help you be the best employer of trainees that you can be. Couple that with the mentoring service that we're providing on the way through means that these services are all there for you to use and to make it really successful in working with TAFE. So how are we going to attract candidates into your industry? Definitely through Skills Road, which is what I've just spoken about. As we start to have conversations with you and we can gauge whether attracting candidate problem or not, we'll be working with TAFE on possible pre-employment programs where we might be able to bring clusters of trainees together, do a bit of training and a bit of work placement with you before that you engage them as a trainee. So as we start to engage with you and understand what your needs are, that's one of the options that we'll be able to work with TAFE on. We'll definitely connect you with our networks to access talent. We'll definitely be getting your message out to schools to build the profile of CLIA and what the Cruise Lining Association and industry can provide in that space, because often you're competing against retail and other areas to get the best candidates. We'll advise you on the best times to get your job ads out. I mean, now is one of the best times. You've got all your school leavers coming out between now and the end of the year. Be a great time to get your message out, to get your jobs on the jobs board and to get your traineeships up and running. The other option quickly that I'll touch on is if you're an employer who's a bit timid and not wanting to employ yourself, then we can assist with a group training option where we have a company that can actually employ your trainee. They'll look after them, but they'll place them with you for the period of the traineeship. And they'll be giving the guidance. And at any time, if it's not working for you, you just have to call the group training company and they'll take the trainee back and give you another one. So it does remove the risk. There's a bit more of a cost for you involved in that. But just know that Steph can advise you in that space if that's where you're at right now, just starting to go into this space, a little bit nervous and want to get a little bit more help. And really at the end of the day here, Troy, we've got Steph's details, a phone number to contact, email address to contact as well. I know we've developed a landing page through the CLIA website, so if you go onto the CLIA website, you'll see a tab there to click on, and a message will come through directly to Stephanie for her then to engage with you. Sounds like I'm losing my voice, but I'll talk too much. So, anything else you might want to ask Troy, or covered a lot of ground here. We've been on for about 25 minutes now, so we've got the question on Northern Territory. If you've got any questions and you want to send through now, we've got a little bit of time to handle them. So I guess by way of wrap up while you're thinking about your questions, this is a huge and hugely exciting opportunity. To have as many as we have engaged on the webinar this morning is fantastic, but this is just the start. As I said before, we provide a free service. We work very closely with Paula and the team from TAFE. The training you're going to get is very much what CLIA has developed, so learning all about what you want on the ground. Your people get a nationally recognised qualification. You might get some incentives from the government to help you pay for the progress, and then we can also assist with finding candidates as we go as well. So doesn't look like there's any other questions coming through there, Troy. So
no, thank you so much, James. If you do have any questions, feel free to pop those in the chat box. What I'll do is at the conclusion of today, I'll send around an email to everybody with a recorded version of the webinar. I'll also copy in Stephanie and James's email address and contact details, as well as the link, as James mentioned, on our website. So if you need some extra time to think about it and you want to get in contact later, you can always jump onto our website and pop in the request.
And I'll just jump in there too. I mean, part of our process once we've had a chat with you will be to say, well, let's have a look at what you're planning over the next year. And Steph might even come out to your office, have a look around, meet with you and talk about what your needs are. This is going to work best if we get cluster groups happening. And as much as it will be online delivery, where we can engage with you across the country, that's what we're looking to do. So, yeah.
I think just to add to what James was saying earlier, I know you're all about the wave season, and we've got amazing Choose Cruise program starting very, very soon. So you're very, very busy. But as James mentioned earlier, now is a really good time to think about it because of the academic year in the high schools where the careers advisors are providing information. James has got definitely have their team on the ground to help you to identify and then look at the process of enrolling them as a trainee. So urge you to consider it seriously. We're really excited about being involved in this at TAFE New South Wales. Working with CLIA has been an absolute joy. We are one of their executive partners, so we actually feel as though we know what your issues are, we know what you need, and we look forward to working with you.
As to each, Roy, it was great to be here this morning. Thanks everyone for engaging with us, and let this be the start. Yeah, now's the time. Get involved. Let us know, and we'll make it happen.
Thank you so much, James. If you have any questions, feel free to pop those into the chat box. I do notice that there are a couple of agents who have registered this morning from New Zealand. This webinar is only for, sorry, this program at the moment is only for Australian residents. However, if you do have any questions about a New Zealand model, feel free to get in contact with us and we'll go from there with you one-on-one. There doesn't appear to be any questions, so I might wrap up this morning's webinar. Thank you so much for coming along and taking the time to sit with us today. I hope you have a wonderful day.